Say it.
Oh,
Does source maintain contentment? Is source in that place of pure positive energy? Does source maintain contentment? And we say, source sent you. Source sent you to explore the contrast. That's why we say to you, you are the leading edge of this expanding universe, you see. So source says, you go forth, you explore the contrast, you reach for more. We will ride the rocket of your asking and hold the balance of it, shining a spotlight eternally for you to come into alignment with. And once you come into alignment, then off we all go again.
And did we also agree that the indicator would always be in the solar plexus first? That would be the first sign of...
Well, you could be so psychically tuned to vibration that you could have a vision before you feel it. In other words, people often say to Esther, oh, you are so lucky that you get to listen to Abraham, because Abraham could have you always in a place of well-being. Abraham could say, watch out, there's something in the road. And we say, it's much better. Esther receives impulses all the time, that she's not translating the fastest. Early warning, and we don't want really to use the word warning, but early indicator of a little imbalance. But only if you really, really care about how you feel does that emotional guidance system serve as that early indicator. Many people have sort of trained themselves into feeling sort of ornery all the time. So they don't get the early ones. They have to wait until it gets really a lot stronger. But what happens as you play the game, as many of you have been, of I'm getting in the vortex and I'm staying in there and I'm not coming out. I'm not coming out willingly. I'm just not coming out. I like it in here so much. In the moment, Esther will lay in her bed thinking about a variety of things and find herself pondering something by association, and suddenly she'll realize she's sweating a little, she's feeling agitated, she's not comfortable in her skin, and she'll laugh as she realizes she was pondering something not in the vortex. And now she just laughs and lets it go. If it's not in the vortex, I'm not going to think about it. Or if I can't take that subject and drag it in, and that's really what we want you to do. We would like you to take everything that's important to you and modify your perspective of it enough that it'll go in the vortex with you. That's really what the best of deliberate creation is. In other words, let's say that Esther she calls back to the office, and this is purely hypothetical, but it's a good example. So she calls to the office, and someone she needs isn't there. And the reason they're not there is because they decided to take a day off. And she wants them to feel free, but she also wanted them to be there. And so now she's feeling agitated because they're not there and she needed them to be there. And they kind of should have been there because they have a really good job and their job is to be there, and they're not there. And there are a lot of people that would like to be there and that aren't there. And so the longer Esther stays on that track, then the more out of the vortex she becomes. And so then the question is this worth me being out of the vortex for? And the answer is nothing is worth me being out of the vortex for. And so then she wants to take that subject into the vortex. So she thinks, there's nothing that I want more than the people I love, which includes all of those people back home working at our Abraham Hicks facility. I want them to be joyful in their lives. I want them to feel freedom. I want them to know that they are free, and all of them are very responsible. None of them would not be there if there was some urgent need for them to be there. There is no urgency about this. There are plenty of other people that could answer this question for me. All is well on this front. So she takes that subject, which she was using as her current excuse to be out of the vortex, and uses it now as her reason to be in the vortex, you see. And when you take subjects that are difficult, like the economy or like politics or like something going wrong in some corner of the world, and you focus upon it, and rather than just ignoring it, because when you focus upon it, it feels bad, instead, you focus upon it in a way that you're able to take it in the vortex with you, or take yourself in the vortex to view it. In other words, that's really what we're talking about, seeing it through the eyes of Source. When you're able to see the problems of the world through the eyes of Source, you're no longer looking at the problems of the world, you're looking at the solutions of the world. And before you know it, you find yourself eager and happy that a problem surfaces, because the problem is the path to the solution. And the exhilaration is in the solution. And if it were not for the problem, there would be no exhilaration in the solution, and there would be no expansion. And so it turns out all is well all the time anyway. It just depends upon where you're standing and how you're viewing. We want this gathering to mean for you, if you want it to. But this is what we would take away from this if we were standing in your physical shoes. I want to see the world through my in the vortex vantage point. That's where I chronically and predominantly want to see it. And it doesn't mean that finding a problem means I'm doing something wrong. It